We're getting achingly close to the top 10 in this countdown of the Super Bowl era's most disappointing teams. When we left you with the 2004 Tennessee Titans at number 13, we said the next face would be a familiar one. Turns out they are very familiar. We'll be back with that in just a moment, but first, let's talk about C-Score, a metric solely created by this channel to evaluate all teams of the Super Bowl era beyond simply looking at their records. For a deeper explanation about how C-Score works, be sure to check out the description of this video. We have specific requirements for teams to qualify as a true disappointment. It all starts with a positive C-score in Season 1. It continues with an even higher C-score in Season 2 that surpasses 15. Then it ends with a negative C-score in Season 3, naturally serving as the disappointment. The larger the drop from Season 2 to Season 3, the higher that disappointment will rank.
Well, look who's back.
Not only are the Tennessee Titans now making back-to-back appearances on this countdown, they become the first franchise to make a third appearance. Moreover, all three have been in the last 6 entries, and all within the same decade. At number 12, we present to you the 2009 Tennessee Titans. Thank you for joining us today. Please like and share this video, take a moment to subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to ding that notification bell. Let's head on over to Nashville one more time. The 2007 Tennessee Titans emerged from a few bad seasons to get their record back over 500 at 10-6. It was close, but they also nabbed a positive point differential. Led by their defense against a middle-of-the-road schedule, they earned a C-score of 2.374. When a football team goes 10-6 and only outscores its opponents by 4 points, it's a pretty safe bet they did very well in one-possession games. And yeah, the Titans went 7-3. They weren't looking like anything special early on in the season, starting off at 3-2. They alternated a 3-game winning streak with a 3-game losing streak to sit at 6-5, very much in the playoff conversation, but nothing to get too confident about. Then, at 7-6, they went on another 3-game winning streak, getting themselves back into the playoffs for the first time in 4 seasons. They finished 3rd in the AFC South, but that was good enough for the 6th seed. Of course, the Titans, and just about everybody else except maybe for the Colts, played the 2007 season under the shadow of the undefeated New England Patriots. The Titans had the opportunity to get the first crack at them if they could win their wildcard round game in San Diego. A Charger team that averaged nearly 26 points per game were only held to 17. Alas, all the Titans could muster was 6, tying their low for the season. Dissatisfying for sure, but still a decent accomplishment after averaging fewer than 6 wins the previous 3 seasons. The AFC South had suddenly become a very good division top to bottom, but with a pretty youthful team, Tennessee had to like their chances to contend the following season. They wound up doing a lot more than that. From seemingly out of nowhere, Tennessee rose to 13-3 with a much more dominant point differential of plus 141. The offense and strength of schedule was more middle of the road, but that defense was exceptional. Their C-score shot up to 22.344. And it all happened under unusual circumstances. Vince Young, the 3rd overall pick in the draft just 2 years earlier, was expected to be the starting quarterback. The potential was there with Young, a legend of college football, and a Rookie of the Year campaign in 2006. But something just wasn't clicking. Young did indeed open the season as the starter, had a poor first game, and wound up leaving that game injured. Veteran Kerry Collins stepped in and was steady if unspectacular. As Young returned to health, head coach Jeff Fisher stuck with Collins while the team was winning. And they did a lot of that, finding themselves at 12-1. But while all of this was going on, the true story of this team was its defense. Outside of that one loss, the Titans did not allow more than 21 points in any game. That's 12 out of 13 times that they allowed fewer points than the league average of 22. The big names were all there. The safety combination of Michael Griffin and Chris Hope, feisty cornerback Cortland Finnegan, and Albert Haynesworth before he got that $100 million contract. Despite booting their last game of the year, the Titans won the AFC South over the Colts and took the AFC's #1 seed for just the second time in franchise history. Still, no one took this team seriously as a contender, and it all boiled down to Kerry Collins. At this stage in his career, no one was confusing him for a superstar, but he alone wasn't a good enough reason to dismiss a team that won more games all season by multiple possessions, except for one. Oh, but that one team was the Baltimore Ravens, who were very unlucky to land the AFC's #6 seed. Then, Tennessee was unlucky to land Baltimore in the playoffs. The Titans went down 13-10, which seemed to verify the narrative surrounding them, but that was not the case. What they had, they earned, and they were truly an excellent football team. They were not an excellent football team in 2009, but they weren't a losing one either, at least not by the end. They managed an 8-8 record despite being outscored on the season by 48 points. Just like in 2001, their defense took a major tumble, dropping from second in points allowed to the bottom 5 of the league at 28th. It was an interesting season for Tennessee, but in the end, their C-score dropped below zero at -6.594. When Tennessee put up little effort to win the final game of the 2008 season, they could not have known that that would be the beginning of an 8-game losing streak. Of course, they lost in the playoffs, then opened this year at 0-6, punctuated by a brutal beatdown from the New England Patriots that ended 59-0 after a 45-0 first half. They had their bye week, then suddenly the lights started to come on. They won their next game, and the next one, and the next 3. Tennessee became the first team in NFL history to lose its first 6 games of the season, then go on to win their next 5. All of a sudden, a playoff berth seemed possible, but the hole was too deep. They went 2-2 over the next 4, ending with a 25-point home loss to the Chargers in the second-to-last game of the season, officially ending their playoff hopes. It was a spirited ride though, and the season will always be remembered for CJ2K. In just his second season, Chris Johnson earned that nickname by becoming the 6th player in league history to rush for more than 2,000 yards in a season. He also added over 500 receiving yards, setting an NFL single-season record with 2,509 scrimmage yards, a record that still stands even in the 17-game era. There was quite a bit to like with this team, but there was also quite a bit not to like. Take, for instance, that 6-game losing streak to start the season. The first 3 games were close, including one in overtime. The next 3 were losses by a combined total of 101 points. Naturally, that's helped on by a 59-point loss, but that counts just as much as the 20 and 22-point losses that preceded it. And they made up for most of that in a 47-7 beatdown of the truly putrid St. Louis Rams. There's also the fact that despite having arguably the single greatest running back performance of all time, the Titans only finished 16th in the league in scoring. Then, of course, there's the defense. Sure, they lost Albert Haynesworth to that aforementioned $100 million contract, but what a fall from grace. We already saw how their points allowed fell, but they dropped in all of these categories too. We focus on the pass defense because 3/4 of the starting secondary was in the Pro Bowl just the season before. It's admittedly a weird fit since many saw the 08 team as a fluke, and many will look at this 8-8 record and dismiss the notion of this team being a disappointment, especially after bouncing back from an 0-6 start. But that's exactly what they are. If further proof was needed, here it is. The 2009 Titans notch a disappointment score of -28.938. We will be getting some fresh blood in our next entry, with a franchise making its first appearance on the countdown. And after 6 straight entries from the 21st century, we're heading back to the 20th. Be sure to join us for our next video in this series to find out who that will be. Future Titans teams will not be making any more appearances on this countdown. That's because they haven't yet hit a double-digit C-score since 2008, let alone one above 15. Head coach Jeff Fisher stuck around one more season before departing, marking 16 full seasons in the big chair, following an interim stint in 1994. He remains the only head coach in Titans history to lead the team to the Super Bowl. Tennessee is the only team in NFL history to earn a number 1 seed more than once that has never won a game as a number 1 seed. They've done it 3 times. Let me know your thoughts about this Titans team. Do you think having an 8-8 record disqualifies them from being considered a disappointment? Or does having a negative C-score overcome that record? Let me know your thoughts on this or anything else you might have on your mind, right down there in the comments section. Thank you once again for taking the time to join us today. And until next time, I hope you have an awesome day.